Rich.com. Big development, people. Big development. CNN has settled its lawsuit with Nick Sandman of Covington fame. So the big questions, of course, are what was the lawsuit? And, the thought in everybody's mind will probably be, how much was it for? There'll be a lot of speculation. And in lawsuits of this nature, they're private settlements, so there really is there's no way to know, but we can make some guesses. We can weigh some factors. So let's first brief summary of the Nick Sandman lawsuit and what brought it about. Once upon a time, there was a young man who went to a pro-life event with a number of his high school students. This young man was very young and, in fact, was 16. So this is a teenage boy. He never wanted to be famous. He never wanted to be known. He was just a regular kid living his life. He was approached by a domestic terrorist group known as the Black Hebrew Israelites. The Black Hebrew Israelites were connected to a recent anti-Semitic mass shooting that happened in New Jersey. The Black Hebrew Israelites began calling Nicholas Sandman and his friends the F-A-G-G-O-T word, among other slurs. Nathan Phillips came in. Nathan Phillips says, let's get these kids, let's harass them, let's destroy them. And the Black Hebrew Israelites, again an anti-Semitic hate group responsible for a mass shooting in a New Jersey deli, said, go get him, Nathan, we got your back. Nathan shows up, starts banging a drum in this boy's face. This boy stood there, smiled, was very polite, was very civilized. Enter the media. Enter the villain. The media says, we got a kid in a MAGA hat committing a hate crime. He's committing a hate crime against a Vietnam veteran, Nathan Phillips. We'll talk more about Nathan Phillips or Nathaniel Phillips being a Vietnam veteran in a minute. We got a MAGA kid committing a hate crime against a Vietnam veteran. Let's destroy this MAGA kid's life. The media went to work. They began doing everything that they possibly could do to destroy this young man's life. Mike Cernovich comes in and says, I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm a little suspicious. A little suspicious here. There's something about this that just doesn't really feel right. A little suspicious. And I began aggressively reporting and streaming on it. Well, what did we find out? Well, we found out that Nathan Phillips was not a Vietnam veteran. He was a Vietnam-era veteran, which, we thank everybody for their service. He was an air conditioning refrigerator repairman, and he left before his contract was up, which is always a little shady. So he had an honorable discharge, but he left before his contract was up. There was some disciplinary stuff in there. A little shady, but he definitely was not a Vietnam veteran. He did not go to Vietnam, although he had falsely claimed that he did before. We also found out that Nathan Phillips is connected to this Black Hebrew Israelite group, which again has committed a mass shooting. We find out the media just lied. They just tried to destroy the lives of innocent teenage boys. Well, there's really no other way to put it. They just tried to destroy their lives. These are kids, 16. This kid wasn't trying to be Soulja Boy. He wasn't trying to be famous. He wasn't trying to be, anybody at all. They're just their Christian kid, Catholic kid, and that's of course who the media goes after. They go after Christians because Christians are, they view them as kind of a weaker target. They know they can get away with that. The media knows that they can get away with targeting Christians in a way that you can't target other groups because there's no anti-defamation league for Christians, right? There's no CARE for Christians, CAR. There's no group that when Christians are smeared that can speak out for them. Whereas if they'd falsely accused Jewish students, you'd have the ADL right there. If they falsely accused Muslim students, you'd have CARE there, CAR there. And if you smear Christian kids, who's there for them? Well, conservative media wasn't. What is, of course, being glossed over in all of this is that Rich Lowry, the National Review, number of people, I'm not naming names, including a couple people I consider friends of mine. They've learned their lesson, or so they claim. They all rushed in. I can't believe this. They joined the hate mob against Nick Sandman. Not me, though, because I've been smeared by fake news. This is what I don't get, well, I do get. Conservatives want to be liked. They want to show the media, you know, we're the good boys. Go after the bad boys. We're the good ones. Leave us alone. Don't bully us. So they all, you know, they all just want to be liked by the media. Maybe they'll get those CNN invites or whatever. And they joined the hate mob against, against this kid. Not me, though. Yeah, Nick Sandman was not trying to be Greta. He wasn't trying to be famous. He's just a Christian kid. The lawsuits were brought against CNN, the Washington Post, NBC, and a number of other outlets. And as I understand, there'll be more lawsuits being brought. And CNN was afraid. CNN was afraid. Why? Well, there's stages in a lawsuit, and this is where we can kind of guess as to what the settlement was, okay? There are 3 stages to a lawsuit. 1, you file your lawsuit. The defendant then files their motion to dismiss. You file a lawsuit, defendant files their motion to dismiss. If the defendant loses the motion to dismiss, you move into the next phase, which is known as discovery, and you also will do a motion for summary judgment. So you file your motion to dismiss, then you do discovery, and then the defendant will side or file its motion for summary judgment, which would say that, hey, you don't have a case. And then finally, there's trial. The sooner a case is settled, the lower the settlement value. Okay, this is number 1 rule of litigation. If a case is settled early, it's usually for a much smaller amount. Why? You call it, nuisance value. Well, do I really want to spend $200,000, $300,000 to defend myself when I could just give them $100,000 or $50,000 or $10,000 to kind of go away? And also, as the case proceeds towards trial, the value of the case increases. When you file a motion to dismiss, or rather, when you file a lawsuit, it's up in the air. Anything could happen. If you get past that initial motion to dismiss, now the other side is going to have to pay discovery, and it gets very expensive. Discovery costs are very expensive. Plus, discovery will tell all of the dirty little secrets of CNN and how they're fake and how they don't report on stories with any kind of amount of integrity. And then after discovery, you do summary judgment motion. If the plaintiff prevails on summary judgment, by prevail, I mean they're allowed to proceed to trial, then case skyrockets, right? 3, 4, 5 times as much as it was at the beginning of the case. So early on, an early settlement means a small amount. However, you can't do that here because CNN is taking a major PR boost, right? So here's, by the way, this is how you think legalistically. This is how you think like a lawyer, and this is also just kind of how you think like an intelligent person. You weigh factors. You say, well, CNN settled the lawsuit early. Well, therefore, it must have been for a small amount. Well, that's uni-factor thinking. You're only looking at one factor. What you look at in all the multiple variable analysis, you would say, well, CNN did settle the lawsuit early. However, this is a major damage to CNN's brand. This is at least $1 million. There's all these different ways of measuring brand damage. This is a 7 to 8 figure damage to CNN's brand. This settlement is being trounced around by every conservative, every Republican right now. Trump's going to trounce it out. Every time there's a press briefing, every time CNN reports negatively on someone, this is going to be brought out. Every time CNN goes, why, we need to ban these people for disinformation, conservative disinformation bubble. They don't care about truth. Bro, you settled the lawsuit. This is a catastrophic brand damage to CNN. At least $1 million in damages to their brand by settling. By choosing to settle this lawsuit, CNN has taken a devastating blow to its brand, maybe 8 figures. So I would speculate. Ranges. This is another thing intelligent people do. Intelligent people do what? Or just sophisticated thinkers. You look at multivariables. You can't just say, well, CNN settled the lawsuit early, therefore it's nothing. You have to look at the brand damage to CNN, what they were trying to hide, what would have shown up in discovery, and then how much their brand was damaged, and then I could give you a range. I would say $750,000 to $2.1 million. And people, oh, that's not the exact amount. If you're an idiot, a buffoon, and you don't know how to think, that might frustrate you, right? That might frustrate you. But without the settlement documents in front of me, all I can do is give a range. Because there's a lot of reasons that Nick Sandman would want to settle a lawsuit. So imagine you're 16, you have all these lawsuits against people. You know, you get 500, 600, 700,000 here, a couple 100,000 from another one. Maybe you really hit the jackpot and hit, 8 figures on another one. You're doing all right. You're 16. The lawyers, usually under these types of contingency cases, the lawyers will take 40% of the fee. So you figure, let's say Sandman took $750,000. You break off $300,000 on your lawyer, you now have $450,000 and you're 16 years old. Not too shabby. And you don't have to go through the process anymore. You can just move on with your life. You can move on to your life with a nice little nest egg, a nice little cushion, a nice little amount of that, right? People saying it has to be more than that. You don't know anything, Rob. Irish Rob. People want to argue with me. You don't know anything, right? It has to be more than that. Why does it have to be more than that? Why? Right? Why would it be 10 million? CNN would at least take it to summary judgment. If it were 10 million, CNN would fight it to summary judgment. They would know that trial would be very, very bad, but CNN still had a lot of cards to play here. It isn't, there was not $250 million. It was not $10 million. Anyone saying this is hundreds of millions of dollars, you should just block them, right? Because they don't know anything. They're just disinformation agents. This is not going to be a 8-figure case. Because if an 8-figure case, CNN would have fought it more. CNN, they wanted out of the lawsuit early. Sandman had leverage, had a lot of cards to play. So this is where you look at, this is what you call a mid to high 6-figure case, low 7-figure case. Ranges. 700. If he took less than 750K, I'd be surprised. If he got more than 2 million, I would be flabbergasted, right? So if I'm wrong and he got more than 2 million, fantastic. But the CNN they would keep fighting for that. If it were, again, anywhere close to the numbers being flown around, CNN would keep fighting it. And if you're 16, raise your hand if you're 16 and you'd like to have a check for $1 million, give 40% to your lawyer, leave you with $600,000. Raise your hand, right? That's the thing. Maybe some of you people are billionaires, but 600 grand's a lot of money to anybody, to me. And 200 grand's a lot of money. And a kid getting, 16-year-old kid, I think he's 17 now, getting 6 figures, medium to high, or even low 7 figures, this is a lot of money. This is real money, people. A lot of fakers. He did not settle for $275 million. You are absurd. No, it isn't reported that he settled for 200. You people are absurd. No, anybody reporting that he settled for 270, no, you don't know anything. You're just wrong, okay? I guarantee you that that's not true. So don't argue with me because I'll block you, just so you know. Because you're spreading such absolute nonsense that I don't even want you here polluting my stream. Because you're not even in the ballpark. If you said you thought maybe he got 3 million, well, state your reasons. That's within the range of it. If you're talking hundreds of millions of dollars or even tens of millions of dollars, you got to go. You're just a buffoon. Believe, everything you read. So that's it. Big day for truth. Now there's, what you're not seeing is any kind of what you would call contrition, right? You're not seeing any kind of contrition. So the blue checkmark Twitter, the lefties on Twitter, you're not seeing them, right? You're not seeing them apologize. Where are they? Because I have some questions for the media. And here's some, here's some food for thought for all of you to think about. By the way, if you're on Periscope, you can share the stream, tap the screen to give me hearts, to give me likes. If you are on Facebook, hit the like and share. And if you're on YouTube, hit the like and subscribe. So this is the kind of thing that you would do if you're a real journalist, right? So one, you always, and this is life. Whenever something bad happens in life, you want to go through and ask the right questions. So I think the biggest question, they're what I call 2 big questions. right? The biggest question is that, and you guys tell me what you think, shouldn't there be a higher standard of verification if the person you're writing about is a minor and is not a public figure? I'll say that again. Shouldn't there be a higher level of verification when the person you're reporting on is 16 years old and is not a public figure? Right? So I'm 42 and I'm a prominent person. That's why people go, why don't you sue these people? You can't. When you're in my position, you can't. And it's unfortunate, but I have some other things that are coming down the pipeline we'll talk about later. But the idea is, hey, I'm 42. I'm a big boy. I'm a public figure. I share my opinions with the world. I've made myself prominent. If you're going to report on me, I would understand that you might not pause or hesitate as much as if you're reporting on a 16-year-old kid nobody's heard of, right? Nobody knew who Nick Sandman was. He wasn't a child star. He wasn't a child actor, child rocker, child rapper. He wasn't in a boy band. He wasn't an internet celebrity. He wasn't an Instagram influencer. He wasn't out there trying to get noticed. This is a private citizen and a minor. So the number one question is, shouldn't an outlet, if you're credible, apply a higher standards of their reporting to minors who don't want to be public figures? That's the biggest question to ask right now. The second biggest question is, come on, bro, why was it a story? Right? I mean, really, that there's so many times in life where you can only think, why? Who cares? Oh, wow, a 16-year-old kid. At worst, if he were guilty of the hate crime accused, the worst Nick Sandman did was taunted someone. Okay, so a high school kid taunted someone. Why is this New York Times, Washington Post, CNN, NBC, headline news, why is this news? It's not even news. Moreover, there is news with Antifa violence. The Nick Sandman story gets far more coverage than actual real Antifa violence. So the two big questions are, again, one, shouldn't the media be more cautious when reporting on an underage boy or an underage girl who is not a public figure? Second question is, hey, this is trash anyway. This is not real news. This isn't journalism. This isn't important. But if you want to report on every little thing, hey, there's a lot of Antifa violence right now. There's a hate crime prosecution going on in Philadelphia against members of Antifa who attacked a Hispanic Marine and called him an SPIC. How many people have seen that reported, right? Literally, Antifa facing hate crime charges in criminal court for going after a Hispanic Marine and calling him an SPIC. That's not being covered. So if you want to talk about what's newsworthy or not, I would say, well, is it even newsworthy that an Antifa guy did that? That's like a local street fight. But the Proud Boys story got massive coverage. The Nick Sandman thing was just some nothing thing. It got coverage. How then does the media explain giving saturation coverage to a nothing story like Sandman, but not giving any coverage at all to hate crimes against Antifa for attacking Marines? And to ask the question is to answer it. The media has become an enemy of the people. The media will destroy the lives. Here's what you got to tell your friends and family. Share them the story. Not my stuff. I don't care about that. You have to send everyone you know the story about CNN selling the lawsuit, because that shows they're fake news. They have no morality. They have no decency. They'll go after a teenager who was not a public figure just to destroy him because they think that might somehow hurt Trump. And that's what you have to do. That's what you have to look at. Remind people whenever they bring something up, say, hey, man, these people will lie about a teenage boy. What would they say about me? Someone like Cernovich, right? If CNN will lie and smear an innocent teenage boy that nobody even heard of, how can you trust anything that they say about anybody? Because they have no morality. They have no standards. Thanks for watching. Mike Cernovich, CERNOVICH.com. If you're on YouTube, like this video, subscribe to the channel. If you're on Facebook, like this video, give me an emoji or something and share it. If you're on Twitter, tap the screen a few times. Thanks for watching. And as always, you can read more about these issues at cernovich.com, CERNOVICH.com. That's my name, cernovich.com.